Nestled in the heart of a lush, green valley lay the village of Ndebele, a place where time-honored traditions and vibrant culture thrived. Ndebele was a picturesque village, surrounded by rolling hills and dense forests that provided both beauty and sustenance to its inhabitants. The village was known for its closely knit community, where everyone played a vital role, and no task was too small or insignificant. The people of Ndebele were proud of their heritage and maintained a strong connection to their ancestors through various rituals and celebrations. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, drawing from the land to sustain themselves. Fields of millet, sorghum, and maize stretched as far as the eye could see, while small, neatly kept gardens overflowed with vegetables and medicinal herbs. Livestock roamed freely, contributing to the rhythm of daily life. The village was a hub of activity from dawn until dusk, with the sounds of laughter, music, and the clatter of tools filling the air. Cultural practices in Ndebele were deeply rooted in respect for the elders and the wisdom they imparted. The village held regular ceremonies to honor the spirits of their ancestors, seeking their guidance and blessings. Storytelling was a cherished tradition, with evenings often spent around communal fires, where the elders recounted tales of bravery, love, and the supernatural. These stories not only entertained but also imparted valuable lessons to the younger generation. Amidst this vibrant tapestry of life lived Amina, a young woman who embodied the virtues cherished by the people of Ndebele. Amina was known throughout the village for her beauty, decency, and unwavering work ethic. Her dark, soulful eyes and radiant smile made her a beloved figure among the villagers. Amina's reputation as a hardworking and virtuous woman earned her the respect and admiration of all who knew her. Each day, Amina rose before the sun, her duties beginning with fetching water from the village well. Her mornings were a symphony of activity, filled with the clucking of chickens, the rhythmic pounding of millet, and the laughter of children playing nearby. Amina's dedication to her family and community was evident in everything she did, from tending to her meticulously maintained garden to caring for the village's elderly. Despite the demands of her daily life, Amina found joy in the simple pleasures of her world. She loved to sing while she walked, her melodic voice blending with the sounds of nature. Her friends often joined her, their laughter and camaraderie providing a welcome respite from their chores. Amina's kindness and generosity knew no bounds. She was always willing to lend a helping hand or offer a comforting word to those in need. In the evenings, Amina participated in the village's communal activities, whether it was dancing around the fire, listening to the elders' stories, or contributing to the vibrant tapestry of Ndebele's cultural life. She dreamed of a future where she could contribute even more to her village, perhaps by becoming a teacher or healer. Her aspirations, though ambitious, were met with support and encouragement from her friends and family, who believed she was destined for greatness. Amina's life in Ndebele was a testament to the values of hard work, virtue, and community. Her presence was a beacon of hope and inspiration, embodying the spirit of a village that thrived on unity, respect, and the rich cultural heritage passed down through generations. Amina's life in the village of Ndebele was a blend of tradition, duty, and dreams. Her days began with the first light of dawn, as the golden rays of the sun kissed the verdant fields surrounding the village. Rising early, Amina would wrap herself in a colorful kanga, the traditional fabric worn by the women of Ndebele, and step out into the crisp morning air. The village was still waking up, the quiet broken only by the chirping of birds and the distant bleating of goats. Her first task each day was to fetch water from the village well, a chore she had been doing since she was a child. The well was located at the center of Ndebele, a place where villagers often gathered to exchange news and share a laugh. As she filled her clay pot, Amina greeted everyone with a warm smile and a cheerful good morning. Her presence seemed to brighten the day for those she encountered, and her reputation as a kind and hardworking young woman was well deserved. Returning home with the heavy pot balanced effortlessly on her head, Amina's next task was to prepare breakfast for her family. She lived with her parents and 3 younger siblings in a modest thatched roof hut, one of many that dotted the landscape of Ndebele. Her mother, Fatima, was a skilled weaver, known for her beautiful baskets and mats, while her father, Musa, was a respected farmer. The family's bond was strong, each member contributing to their well-being and sharing the burdens and joys of daily life. After breakfast, Amina would help her mother with household chores. Together, they would sweep the yard, tend to the chickens, and maintain the small vegetable garden that provided much of their food. Amina's siblings, still too young for the more demanding tasks, would assist where they could, their laughter and playful chatter filling the air. Despite the hard work, these were moments of connection and learning, where values and skills were passed down through generations. Amina's dedication to her family and community was evident in every aspect of her life. In addition to her household duties, she often helped her neighbors, whether it was assisting an elderly woman with her shopping or watching over a sick child while the parents worked in the fields. Her generosity knew no bounds, and she never hesitated to offer a helping hand. This selflessness earned her the admiration and respect of the entire village. One of Amina's most cherished responsibilities was her role in the village's cultural activities. She was an active participant in the Women's Cooperative, a group that organized events, managed communal resources, and provided support to those in need. Amina's leadership skills shone through in these gatherings, where her ideas and contributions were highly valued. Whether it was planning a festival, coordinating a communal harvest, or organizing a charity drive, Amina's involvement ensured that everything ran smoothly. Despite her many duties, Amina found time to pursue her own interests and dreams. She had a deep love for learning and spent her evenings reading by the light of a kerosene lamp. Books were a precious commodity in Ndebele, but Amina treasured the few she had, borrowed from the village's small library. Her favorite stories were those of brave heroines and wise leaders, characters who inspired her and fueled her aspirations. Amina dreamed of becoming a teacher, a goal that seemed both ambitious and attainable. She believed that education was the key to a better future for her village, and she longed to share her knowledge and inspire others. Her friends often teased her about her lofty dreams, but they also supported her wholeheartedly, knowing that if anyone could achieve such goals, it was Amina. In addition to her academic pursuits, Amina had a talent for traditional music and dance. She played the bira, a thumb piano, and her performances were a highlight of village celebrations. Her voice, clear and melodious, would lead the villagers in songs that celebrated their heritage and history. During festivals, Amina's graceful movements in the traditional dances captivated everyone, her joy and passion radiating with every step. Amina's popularity in the village extended beyond her talents and work ethic. She possessed an innate ability to connect with people, understanding their joys and sorrows, and offering comfort and encouragement. Her empathetic nature made her a trusted confidant, and many villagers sought her out for advice. Amina's wisdom, despite her youth, was a beacon of hope for those facing difficulties. As the day drew to a close, Amina would often take a moment to herself, sitting on a hill overlooking the village. From this vantage point, she could see the fields, the bustling market, and the homes of the people she loved. It was a time for reflection, where she would contemplate her dreams and the path she wished to take. The beauty of her surroundings, the love of her family, and the support of her community filled her with a deep sense of gratitude and purpose. Amina's life was a tapestry woven with threads of hard work, virtue, and dreams. She embodied the spirit of Ndebele, a village that thrived on unity, respect, and a rich cultural heritage. Her story was not just one of daily routines and responsibilities, but of aspirations and the unwavering belief that she could make a difference. Amina's journey was a testament to the power of determination and the strength of community, a narrative that inspired all who knew her. In the evenings, as the sun set and the village gathered around communal fires, Amina's voice could be heard leading songs and stories. She spoke of hope, resilience, and the importance of standing together. Her tales were not just entertainment but lessons in courage and compassion. Through her words and actions, Amina was shaping the future of Ndebele, one day at a time, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of her people. It was an ordinary day in Ndebele, a day like any other, with the sun high in the sky and the sounds of village life filling the air. Amina had just finished helping her mother prepare the midday meal and was on her way to the market to buy some spices. The path to the market was familiar and well-trodden, lined with tall, swaying grasses and dotted with vibrant wildflowers. Amina hummed softly to herself, her mind occupied with thoughts of the upcoming harvest festival. As she walked, Amina felt a sense of peace and contentment. The village was bustling with activity in preparation for the festival, and the excitement was palpable. She smiled as she greeted fellow villagers along the way, exchanging pleasantries and laughter. The market was a lively place, filled with the vibrant colors of fruits, vegetables, and handmade goods. Amina moved through the stalls with ease, greeting the vendors she knew so well and picking out the freshest produce for her family. After completing her shopping, Amina began the journey back home. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows across the landscape. The air was warm and fragrant with the scent of blooming flowers. Amina walked slowly, enjoying the tranquility of the evening. She took a detour through the forest, a shorter route that she often used. The forest was dense and cool, with sunlight filtering through the canopy of leaves above. As Amina walked deeper into the forest, she heard a rustling in the bushes behind her. She turned, expecting to see a squirrel or a bird, but saw nothing. Shrugging it off, she continued on her way, but the feeling of unease grew stronger. Suddenly, she was grabbed from behind, a rough hand clamping over her mouth, stifling her scream. Panic surged through her as she struggled to free herself, but her attacker was too strong. The next few moments were a blur of terror and pain. Amina fought with all her strength, but the man overpowered her, his hands bruising her arms and legs as he forced her to the ground. She recognized him, Kofi, the village herbalist, a man she had trusted and respected. The shock of recognition was almost as painful as the physical assault. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening, but there was no sense to be found in the brutality of his actions. Amina's screams were muffled by the dense forest, and her struggles grew weaker as the assault continued. The physical pain was excruciating, but it was the emotional agony that cut deepest. She felt a profound sense of betrayal, shame, and helplessness. The attack seemed to last an eternity, but eventually, it was over. Kofi stood up, his face twisted with a mix of anger and satisfaction, and left her lying on the forest floor, broken and bleeding. In the aftermath, Amina lay there for what felt like hours, her body racked with sobs. The once comforting forest now felt like a prison, its shadows closing in on her. She struggled to her feet, her legs weak and trembling, and made her way home. Every step was agony, but she forced herself to keep moving. She couldn't let anyone see her like this. She couldn't bear the shame. When Amina finally reached her home, she slipped inside quietly, thankful that her family was already asleep. She washed herself in silence, the water stinging her wounds, and dressed in clean clothes. Her body was bruised and battered, but it was her spirit that had taken the hardest hit. She lay down on her mat, her mind a whirlwind of fear, confusion, and despair. In the days that followed, Amina withdrew into herself. She avoided the places and people she once loved, her vibrant spirit now overshadowed by a dark cloud of silence. The villagers noticed her change in demeanor, but Amina offered no explanation. Her family was deeply concerned, but every time they asked what was wrong, she would simply shake her head and say she was fine. The words caught in her throat, too painful to speak. Amina's decision to remain silent about her attacker was driven by a complex mix of fear and shame. She feared that no one would believe her, that Kofi's respected position in the village would shield him from any accusations. She feared the judgment and ostracism that might follow, the whispers and stares of the villagers. But more than anything, she felt an overwhelming sense of shame, as though she had somehow brought this upon herself. The weight of her secret pressed down on her, making it difficult to breathe. She went through the motions of her daily life, but the joy and light that once defined her were gone. Her friends tried to reach out to her, but Amina kept them at a distance, afraid that they would see the truth in her eyes. She couldn't bear the thought of their pity or their anger on her behalf. Weeks turned into months, and Amina's silence became a part of her. She threw herself into her work, hoping that the physical labor would distract her from the pain. She helped her mother with the weaving, tended to the garden, and took on additional chores around the house. Her hands were always busy, but her mind was never still. Memories of the assault haunted her, replaying in her mind when she closed her eyes. The villagers continued to notice the change in Amina, but life in Ndebele went on. The harvest festival came and went, and the seasons changed. Amina's family and friends grew accustomed to her new demeanor, though they never stopped worrying about her. Her siblings, too young to understand the full extent of her pain, sensed that something was wrong but couldn't put it into words. Amina's decision to remain silent was both a means of self-preservation and a desperate attempt to hold on to some semblance of normalcy. She feared that speaking out would shatter the fragile balance she had managed to maintain. The silence was a heavy burden, but it was one she chose to carry, believing that it was the only way to protect herself and her family. Yet, deep down, Amina knew that the truth could not stay hidden forever. The village was a small place, and secrets had a way of coming to light. She lived in constant fear of the day when her secret would be revealed, but she pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the tasks at hand. For now, she would remain silent, holding on to the hope that somehow, some way, she would find the strength to heal. Amina's life had been irrevocably changed by the assault, but she refused to let it define her. She clung to her dreams of a better future, even as the darkness threatened to overwhelm her. She found solace in small moments of beauty, a blooming flower, the laughter of children, the warmth of the sun on her face. These moments gave her the strength to keep going, to keep fighting for a future where she could reclaim her joy and her voice.